The topic of racism often rears its head and is often, in my opinion, misplaced. Personally, amongst my family and friends, I don't know one racist. I haven't got any racist friends. I haven't got any racist colleagues. They wouldn't be my friends or colleagues if they were racist. I think the misnomer of the use of the word racism is reaching fever pitch. Looking up what racism actually means. Been on the internet, you can do it yourself. However, as a noun, it's prejudice, discrimination or antagonism by an individual, community or institution against a person or people on the basis of the membership of a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalised. Definition. Racism is the process by which systems and policies, actions and attitudes create inequitable opportunities and outcomes for people based on race, as in they don't get equal opportunities. Racism is more than just prejudice, thought or action. So, what's caught my eye? Oldham Council are funding and promoting a 14-week programme for females from specifically the global majority, i.e. whites can't apply and are specifically excluded. So this excludes Oldham's white girls from getting on the programme. Even if you're white and working class, you are excluded. Now, Jess Phillips announced in the Houses of Parliament just before recess that using her estimates, these are not my estimates, these are hers, that 500,000 children per year are victims of sexual exploitation of varying degrees per annum. It's the government's figures, these aren't mine. Many of which are white girls and white working class girls who are groomed and gang raped. So it appears that here in Oldham, white girls are not only excluded from opportunities of employment, the funding for investigation and being gang raped, groomed and abused and trafficked has been removed by the Labour Party. All very upsetting. However, council officers are upset having to promote this clearly racist and divisive programme. I always look at the word diversity and diversity. It's a plural of division. And division I don't think is a good thing. What I think is a good thing is unity, being unified. Diversity means diversify. It might be diverse. I don't think it brings people together. It divides them, which is, as I say, the meaning of the word. Again, going on about what certain words mean and how they're interpreted. The devil is in the detail. So, Oldham Council running a 14-week training course for budding entrepreneurs in partnership with Athena Labs. To get on the course, you need to be female and part of the global majority, which basically is code for not being white. White girls need not apply. What is that Oldham Labour have against white girls? CSC, now they are targeting education. Surely the course should be open to all ethnicities. Is this not racism? This is a spec, and I'll show it you. It's if you want to Google it, it's liftadventures.co.uk, Athena Labs /Oldham. I'll put the link, as I always do, in the comments section. But apparently it's a Rouge Shah's idea, and fellow council officers are not very pleased with it. So here it is. This is the Athena Labs. I've just done the print off there, as I say. What I will do is I'll put this in the comments section on the Oldham Reform Facebook group, and I'll put also a link on the TikTok. And it's here, it goes on. And here is the offending sort of comment. We're looking for ethnic minority female founders or co-founders. In other words, not white people. Is that not racism? What is a worrying trend within Oldham and beyond is what is deemed to be racist and what is going on this two-tier system that is occurring. You've got Christianophobia that's taking hold all over the UK. There was a chap, sadly, he was out walking, minding his own business, and he had his eyes gouged out, and he was beaten to death with his stick. He was an 87-year-old pensioner. This happened very recently. Sakia Miles, 23 years old, subjected Bernard Farrell to a brutal random attack. And Harold Ward was at the station of East London on February the 27th of last year. Having targeted his eyes, Miles also hit Farrell over the head 19 times with his walking stick and stamped on his head 8 times. Retired mechanic Mr. Farrell had gone to the station that day to pick up 3 newspapers for his community. Miles had travelled from Liverpool Street to Harrowwood Station. When asked to leave, told staff, "Touch me and I will kill you." Now, this is Sakia Miles. I can't find the words really to describe my despair as to what's going on. There was a lady called Vaughan Spruce, and she was arrested on 2 separate occasions for praying peacefully in her mind, leading to a court trial at Birmingham Magistrates Court. As I say, I find it absolutely appalling. And yet people band about the word racism. Is this not racism? You know, and targeted, you know, against ethnicities such as Christians, where a lady is praying peacefully in the street and she's arrested. A chap's going to try and collect newspapers, 3 newspapers, community, and he has his eyes gouged out and he's beaten to death with his walking stick, an 87-year-old man, by a 23-year-old Sakia Miles. And again, you're looking at a chap, Hashim Abedi. He doused the wardens in hot oil before slashing them with a pair of makeshift blades on Saturday. The separation unit where the attack took place, HMP at Franklands in County Durham, is only one of 2 in the UK, has a small number of most radicalised terrorists. The terrorists enjoy the same benefits as regular members, including fortnightly visits, CDs, games, consoles and other privileges, including TV room, pool table, bookshelves, fitness. The staff can arrange inmates to visit the main prison gym, and they're entitled to 5 hours out of the cell a weekend. The inmates can access a kitchen area when Abedi, who helped himself and his brother Salman plan the Manchester Arena bombing, used to source cooking oil and fashion 2 20-centimetre blades from a baking tray. This is this is a chap throwing boiling hot oil in a prison warden's face, and I don't know if the man's going to survive or not. But racism, it's a word, as I say, bantered about. It only seems to apply in one direction. It doesn't seem to apply when people are targeting Jewish people. I've seen some quite vile reports of Jewish people being targeted, whereas hospital staff are saying that they won't treat them if they're Jewish. You look at Christians being targeted. We're looking coming up to the celebration of Easter, which is the biggest, most important date in the calendar of the Christian religion. And Good Friday coming up, where Jesus died on the cross. Easter Sunday, where he was resurrected, and then they rejoice on Easter Monday. I wonder what our authorities are going to do in London, or indeed in Oldham, to celebrate the Easter celebrations. Will they be lighting up the Civic Centre in celebration? Will they be organising funds and parties for the Christian element of our community? Supposedly there's 70 million people in the UK, of which 66 million are not Muslim background and of various backgrounds, and I'm just wondering why Christians are targeted, obviously, in the way that they are being doing, and why here in Oldham, white girls can't apply for jobs at the council and they're being excluded from applying for the jobs. Is this not the purest form of racism against our own people? You know, which is supposed to be, we're all supposed to be equal, but it only seems to be playing in one particular way. It's quite sad. I personally find it very, very upsetting when people banter the word racism about when it's not used accurately. And as I say, I've just read out the definition of racism as a noun and as a definition. Moving on. Oldham Council's finances. We know that Sarah Johnson gave us warnings about the state of our finances in Oldham, saying that it was unsustainable. She provided a graph that stated that we have used since 2020-2021 £100 million of reserves, and we are in very serious danger in regards to our finances. Paul Clifford, the chief economist of Oldham Council, as jacked as is Sarah Johnson, as jacked as Harry Cathro, as jacked as is Paul Kelso, the assistant finance director, is jacked. So, Councillor Abdul Jabbar, Labour's political head of finance, his next strategic move is to get 2 senior accountancy roles and replace them with 2 new posts straight up to school graduates, i.e. replacing 2 senior finance posts with 2 graduates with no experience. Well, what could possibly go wrong? And wait for the punchline. It's called Growing Your Own. So we're going to have 2 posts straight at school graduates run the finances, Growing Your Own in Oldham, after senior members have all given dire warnings and jacked. So, Oldham Council going to grow 2 new accountants as they grew the CAO. So, who's going to be teaching these 2 new juniors? Will it be Councillor Jabbar, who's never had a proper job, or any professional finance job in his career? Or maybe Councillor Fida Hussain, who was investigated for money laundering for over a year by Greater Manchester Police. And the link to it is here, and as always, I will put the link on the in the comments section of this post, podcast, TikTok, call it whatever you will, so you can see for yourself. In regards to racism, I find the use of the word is often misdirected, and when you put an application in for a role or jobs and you're basically saying white people are excluded, could you imagine the furor? Could you imagine the furor if anybody put an advert up and said only white people can apply? It's food for thought. And this is where the UK is heading right now. I've said it before and I've said it again. People are often saying, what can we do? And what I'm saying, there's only one thing you can do. The Conservatives spent 14 years making a bad situation worse. They didn't stop the boats. They didn't deliver Brexit. Brexit has never been delivered. So when people say, oh, you know, the Brexit hasn't worked, we'll never know because it was never delivered. The Labour Party are making things worse on a exponential basis. Day by day, we're just getting record numbers of illegal immigrants coming into the country. The Liberal Democrats will make a situation just as worse. You have called the uni party these days. There's only one party. People keep saying, when will the lying away? When will the lying away in Britain? You know, when will people wake up and sort of do something about it? Well, the Reform UK is the lion and is woken up. We've gone from 22,000 members to 222,000 members in a little over a year, and thereabouts. we need you to join. We need people to wake up. Get yourself joined to the Reform UK party. It is last chance saloon here, folks, because the uni parties, none of them are going to make any difference. The only party that has promised detaining and deportation of illegal asylum seekers is Reform UK. None of the other parties will do it. So when people say something's got to be done and what should we do and what can we do, there is only one thing left now that you can do, and that's join Reform UK and do all you can to try and get us elected. Vote. Many people who don't vote complain about what's going on, and I'm sorry to say it, but I'll be blunt as I can. You're the problem. You need to vote. You want to change things, vote. Because if Reform UK do not form the next government, we are in serious trouble. And I think you'll find a lot of people who believe in the UK, which is a very sad state of affairs. But again, you know, people who brand others racist need to have a good look at themselves first before they do. As always, take care. Kind regards, God bless them. I wish you all a thoroughly happy Easter and keep the faith.